So briefly, I'll take you through this software development life cycle, and then tomorrow's session we'll look at the variations of this software development and understand why these variations exist and what is the benefit you get from it. Okay. So at a very high level, I'll cover these topics, this SDLC now. Okay. Any project you take would generally tend to have these 7 phases. Okay. So first phase is where you would identify the projects. Okay. You would identify what kind of projects I can take up. Then is it feasible or not? How much would it cost? Is it financially feasible? Right. And then you would present it to your senior management and get approvals. Okay. All those set of activities would be under the project initiation. So from our role point, we would get involved in the enterprise analysis. Right. So we can classify our set of activities of identifying opportunities, creating a business case. All that would be covered under the enterprise analysis knowledge area. Right. So if you work as a business analyst for a client directly, so this is where you could get involved in the phase 1, right? So you'll identify new opportunities, you'll create business case documents for them, you'll present it to the senior management and then get approvals to that, right? So that's the first phase. Now after this phase, you'll have the output or the deliverable coming out of this is that you would have budgets allocated to the project. Okay. Now once the budgets are allocated, then the team is onboarded. So there would be an architect, there will be a business analyst, there will be a project manager, and the first step that they would do as part of the project is they would create a detailed project plan. Right. So there would be a planning activities, and you would contribute to the requirements planning. Okay. So this is where you would contribute to the planning exercise. You would help out the project manager with all the detailed plan for the requirements related activities. You also ensure that there are frameworks for managing scope, change, and risks. Right. So you'll help. There is a requirement management framework, and then you'll come up with a detailed plan for all your requirement related activities as part of this project planning. Okay. Then as part of the business requirement definition, you would first understand the requirements. So there would be a requirement elicitation happening, and you would also have requirement analysis and design. Okay. So basically you would talk to the SMEs, the business people. You will understand the requirements. You would come back and then document it. Okay. So this is what you would do as part of your requirement definition. Okay. Now if you have to map it to the knowledge area, if you have attended the demo, I told you that the 6 knowledge areas what a business analyst needs to have. The first one is enterprise analysis, the second one is planning, third one is requirement elicitation, the fourth one is analysis and design. Okay. So if you look at it, phase 2 is where you contribute the most, right? So during the initial phases of the project, a business analyst plays a very important role. You pretty much own these activities. Okay, either be it the enterprise analysis for your business case preparation or your project planning, and then for related to requirements, and then understanding requirements and documenting them. Okay, so the end deliverable coming out of this would be the BRD. Okay, so the business requirements document would be prepared as part of your phase 2. Okay, you pretty much own this document, so you have to be an expert in writing the BRDs. Okay, how we would do that, we would learn as part of the course anyway, but that is what is expected out of you as a business analyst. Okay, now once the BRD is written, so phase 2 is primarily BA. Yeah. So phase 2, the business analyst plays a very crucial role. You first help in the planning and then understand requirements and document it. You prepare the BRD. Okay. Then the BRD is given to the technical architect. Okay. So based on the requirement document, they would prepare the detailed design. First, there are two levels of design which happen. High level design, and then there is a low level design. It's also called as conceptual and detailed design. Right? High level design basically tells us what all modules should be there, and the low level design, they would figure out, within each module what are the programs there should be there and all those details. Right? We don't need to know about it anyway. Right? So the end deliverable out of this phase 3 are the design documents. Right? So there would be basically two documents: one high level design document, HLD as we call it as. The second one is a low level design document, or LLD. Right? So that's two design documents which should come out. Now these design documents would be given to the developers. All right. So phase 4 is primarily the developers' activity. Right. Now the developers would actually write the programs. Right. So to meet these specifications in the design documents, they would actually write the programs. If there are like 20 programs identified in your low level design, they will actually write that logic into that particular program. And then they would also test each of those programs individually. Okay. So there is a unit test which is happening. So each program is tested on its own and make sure that it's working correctly. It's functionally right. Okay. Then what do you do is you would combine all those various programs and test it as one single unit. So we call that as the integration testing and system testing, or sometimes simply as system testing, sometimes as system and integration testing, SIT as you call it as. Okay, this is primary responsibility of the vendor, right? So the Accenture would do this round of testing. Okay, then once the testing is they're comfortable and then they feel that the application is good, we can start. We can actually take it to the customer for his round of testing. Then you would take it to the customer, right? So now the customer again, the Citibank in this case, would do a thorough testing of the application, right? So they would look at the requirements what they have given into the BRD, and for each of the requirements in the BRD, they would test whether that feature exists or not. Okay, so your UAT focuses on all the functional aspects, whether everything is working and working correctly. Okay, once they are satisfied with the system, once the acceptance criteria is met, you would finally hand over the system to the operations team. So the phase 5 is primarily QA team, and once the migration approval is done, then it would be the ops team. Right. So the ops team basically would set up the application in the production environment. So if some users needs to be created, or some data needs to be migrated into the system, or a client machine has to be installed in all those branch locations or something like that. So all those activities would be done. They would, one fine day, they would give access to the end users. We call that as a go live activity. Right? So go live go live means access is given to the end users and they would start using the system from this go live date. Right? After the maintenance kicks in, that's also handled by the ops team. Right? So your contribution would be primarily in phase 2. In phase 1 you would also contribute, and phase 5 also. So you would contribute during this. Your solution assessment and validation would be involved with the 2 levels of testing: system testing and user acceptance testing. And your communication management is a complete activity which goes throughout. Okay, so these are the 4, and this is 5, and this is the 6. The 6 knowledge areas what you as a business analyst need to contribute. Okay, so these are the 6 places where you would contribute. The technical architect would contribute during the design phase of the project. The developers would come in only during the build phase, and then they would actually write the programs and test it. The operations team would implement the system and then maintain it. Okay, so these are the key people who are involved in the project and the way in which a project is executed. Clear at a high level? Do you understand the various people now and what are the tasks that we do in a typical project? Is this clear what I explained till now on the SDLC? All right. So, so tomorrow's session will look at the details of what are the variants of SDLC and why they exist, and what is the benefit you would get onto that. Okay. So before I conclude today's session, let's take a checkpoint. I would want to take some feedback from you. Are you guys understanding it? Do I need to slow down my pace, or are we good with the way we are going taking up the training? So let me know your feedback so that I can arrange, I can align it to your needs. Right. So some people want it to be taken slowly. Some people might. So specifically, if you feel that it can be better, do let me know that feedback so that I can align it according to that. Right. If you're not talking, I assume that you're understanding everything, right? So unless you get the feedback, it will not be able to course correct things. So do let me know in case you need any changes. Okay. So guys, any feedback, anything which you want to share before we?
So for tomorrow's class, we're gonna discuss detail in phases of all phases, or you're gonna skip to the new topic.
So see, the way it would work is, one question at a time. Sandeep, I'll take your question. Let me answer this, and then we'll come back. Now, I'll explain about the variants of SDLC in the coming sessions. I think broadly we understand who are the various people and what do they look at it, right? And specific to the business analyst role, like when you're talking about how do we plan for requirements, how do we understand requirements, how do we document them, so that would be dealt in depth. So as a business analyst, you'll whatever you are expected to do in the project would be covered in depth. The rest of it, we anyway know that a technical architect is supposed to do the design. The developer is supposed to write the programs. So that level of knowledge is good enough for us. We are not going to take up those design or development activities anyway, right? So broadly we understand the activities would be the responsibilities of these people. But as a business analyst, we'll get into each one of these activities and understand the details. I hope that answers your question. Sandeep,
I can't hear you. Hi. If you can go a little bit slower.
Go ahead, Sandeep.
It will be if you can go a little bit slower, then it will be easy to understand, because this is a new topic, and I'm like confused, So in the next class, if you could go a little bit slower, it will be easy to understand.
Right. Yeah. All right. Okay. You could have actually done that at the start itself if you felt that going faster pace. You could just ask me to explain it in a little detail. Make sure that you do that, because I'll not get the feel whether I'm understanding it or not, right? So I'll anyway take that feedback, and going forward I'll explain it in a little more detail. I'll take more examples and then do that. But yeah, thanks.
Okay. Actually, I was a little confused with this SDLC phase. So in the next class, can you go, if possible, if you can go a little bit in detail of this, then easy for me.
All right, I'll take this up again, and then we'll get into a little more detail about it, and then cover the rest of the topics in tomorrow's session.
Thank you.
Okay. All right then. Unless you guys have any other questions, I think we are good for the day. I hope you understood what we tried to cover in today's session.